In this lesson I'm going to talk about rhythm. I'm going to explain the different note and rest lengths and also show you some patterns and how we put rhythms together. For this lesson you don't need any previous knowledge of rhythm, as I'll explain everything as we go along. Make sure you subscribe to me here on YouTube by pressing the red subscribe button, because this is a new rhythm playlist and I'll be adding lessons every few weeks. I'd really appreciate your input with this rhythm series, so give me any suggestions of anything to do with rhythm that you'd like me to cover in these lessons. You can do that by leaving a comment below this video. First of all, I'll explain to you different note lengths. A whole note is held for 4 beats. A half note is held for 2 beats. A quarter note is held for 1 beat. An eighth note is held for half a beat. And a 16th note is held for a quarter of a beat. In the UK we also call these note values by different names. So a whole note is a semibreve, a half note is a minim, a quarter note is a crotchet, an eighth note is a quaver, and a 16th note is a semiquaver. But I'll stick with the more common names that I mentioned before. Each of these note values have a corresponding rest of the same value, and we put these notes and rests together to form rhythms or patterns or grooves. Now all the information on this sheet, including the exercises that I'll show you later, are on a PDF which you can download below in the description, and I'll put all the rest values on there as well. A few other things to note before we get started on the rhythms. If you see a dot after a note or a rest, then you add half the value of that note or rest on. So for example, if you've got a quarter note, which is 1 beat, and you have a dot after it, then that becomes 1.5 beats. We connect 8th and 16th notes together with a line above called a beam. We split patterns up into even bars, and each piece of music has a time signature. This time signature tells you what type of beats and how many beats there are in each bar. For example, in 4/4 time, we have 4 quarter beats in each bar. The 4 on the top tells you how many beats, and the 4 on the bottom tells you that they're quarter notes. So in 2/4 we'd have 2 quarter notes, and in 6/8 we'd have 6 eighth notes. I'm going to make more video lessons on grooves and patterns that you'll see in specific time signatures, but for this lesson I'll just show you now some common patterns that you'll see as a bass player. So you can clap these rhythms or play them on the bass, or any other instrument for that matter. So I'm going to play them on a D, so we don't have to worry about different pitches and we can just play the rhythm. And I'm going to play each rhythm twice. So make sure you get the PDF that's got all these exercises written out. First of all, I'll play you exercise 1. If we look at exercise 1, it's got 2 bars, it's in 4/4. So first of all we've got a quarter note, and then that's an eighth note rest, and then we have an eighth note. So if we were to count this pattern, it would be 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. So that eighth note is actually on the and of 2. So 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. So that's very common to have that sort of pattern. And it's handy to count and to divide up the bar. So in 4/4 really we've got 4 strong beats. We'll move on to exercise 2 now. Again, this exercise is in 4/4, and first of all we've got 2 eighth notes, and then we've got a rest, and then an eighth note, so that's similar, the rest and the eighth note, to the exercise before. And then we've got a half note, and then the next bar we've got 2 quarter notes, a quarter note rest, and then in the next bar we've got 2 eighth notes, eighth note rest, an eighth note, and 2 quarter notes. So we could count it like this: 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. And if we put that rhythm into a bass line, we could come up with something like this. So try that rhythm yourself with some different notes and see if you can make a bass line up. We'll now move on to exercise 3, and this is a rhythm that you'll probably recognise from a famous bass line. In the first bar we've got 3 quarter notes, and then we've got a dotted 8th note rest. So an 8th note rest is normally half a beat, so if we add a dot on it, it's 3/4 of a beat, and then we've got a 16th note. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So in the second bar we've got 2 8th notes, an 8th note and 2 16th notes. So when the 16th notes are joined up, you have the line and then you have a second line. So you know that that's a 16th note. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So actually that's Another One Bites the Dust. Okay, so try and play and clap that. Now if we move on to exercise 4, and if you look at the time signature, you can see that it's 3/4. So there are 3 quarter notes in each bar. In the first bar we've got a half note and a quarter note, then 3 quarter notes, and then 6 8th notes, and then a dotted half note. So that's 3 beats in the last bar. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Exercise number 5, the last exercise, if we look at the time signature again, we can see it's in 6/8. So that means 6 8th notes in each bar. And in 6/8 time, we divide the bar up into 2. So 2 dotted quarter notes. So really 3 8th notes each. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. So that's the best way to count it. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. In bar 1 we've got a dotted quarter note, so 1, 2, 3, and then 3 8th notes, and in the same pattern again. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now 6/8 and another time signature 12/8 you often see in blues tunes, and has that sort of shuffle feel. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Well, that's the end of the exercises, and I hope this lesson has helped you to understand a little bit more about rhythm. Remember, these exercises and all the information in this lesson can be downloaded in a PDF below this video in the description. Remember to subscribe to me here on YouTube by pressing the red subscribe button in the bottom corner here, and you might also want to head over to my website gbshed.com, where I've got a free members area and lots more bass resources. I've also started putting some reading exercises into my members area, so have a look at those. They come with MP3s and they're graded from level 1 to 3, so level 1 being the easiest. So there's 3 in there at the moment, and I'll be adding more on a weekly basis. This is Greg from Greg's Bass Shed. I'll see you in the next video.